The Formula Regional Middle Eastern Championship, certified by the FIA. We've got a race and a half on our hands. It's time for race 2, and Jake Sanson caught up with a few drivers earlier on today. Turns out the audio.
Fantastic support in your native UK, but also from the family in Mauritius. So it must be all still a really incredible experience to do all of this all at once and live the life as a racing driver.
Yeah, I think making the jump up so quickly has definitely been an experience, but it's absolutely flown by. Although I haven't been in it long, even though it's just single years have flown by. It's been amazing to move up so quickly and just enjoy every step of the way.
So you come back into the championship halfway through onto a circuit that nobody's ever driven this car on before. So what can you tell us about the LaSalle circuit when you're at the limit?
It's a very fine line between being on the limit and being over the limit here. So they've got the new gravel tracks right behind the exit curve. So you step one wheel over, you're off in the gravel, and that's your lap done pretty much. You lose so much time by being over the limit, which is I think it's been a good way to combat track limits and just keep people in track. But yeah, overall, very cool circuits.
This has been a debate for quite some time about track limits. Having the sort of the old school approach, if you go off, you're on the gravel. Is that tough when you've basically learnt only one method of having that runoff to catch you if you make an error?
Yeah, I think you've got to sort of re-engineer yourself a bit. I think I've got a bit of an advantage coming from UK tracks, which are, some of them are quite like that, or even if they do have runoff, it's still brought back by an aggressive curve or something. Whereas I know some of the European circuits, you can get away a lot with running off, especially someone like Yas Marina. Although there's track limits, if you go off, there's so much time to be gained. You can gain half a second at a corner just by running wide and getting an exit.
And of course, you haven't just done this with any old team. You've been there with them on My Falcons, run by Kramer, so it's right up at the pinnacle. When you're working with engineers that have all the info and all the experience and the wealth of knowledge at your fingertips, how much better is it? How much easier is it to be able to learn what you need to progress?
It makes it easier for you to just be able to focus on what you have to do rather than being, oh, setup's not right here, we need to work on this, and then you sort of try to work out how much you lost losing by the car, how much you losing by you. But it's nice to just focus on my driving and maybe a little setup change here and there.
So coming back in midway through a season and going into a new circuit, what do you think your expectations realistically could be in terms of targets for this weekend? Where would you like to see yourself?
Just in the top 5. I think the top 5 and top 10 in this grid are super competitive. You've got second year Franca drivers, F3 drivers, and my teammates, Freddie and Rashid, are phenomenal drivers. So just being in the top 5 bracket, I think, shows that we're right up there with everyone else.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing what you can do with the opportunity. It's good to see you back in the championship again, and we wish you all the best for the 3 races. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
For the second and final time today, it's the Formula Regional Middle East Championship 2025 here at the LaSalle International Circuit during the Qatar 12 kilometre weekend, the season opener for the FIA World Endurance Championship. It's our season curtain fall in Formula Regional Middle East, and this could be the race where we crown a champion. Jake Sanson in the commentary box with you once again. Great to be with you once more as we get ourselves geared up for another 28 minutes plus the additional lap of a circuit which is quickly becoming the driver's favourite amongst the Formula Regional paddock, but also one of the toughest to master. It's not going to be a very easy time of it, that's for sure. And the man starting from pole position in this reverse grid race is Hiro Yamakoshi, the Japanese driver for Pinnacle. He'll be having a very interesting time of it from the front row of the grid, alongside his teammate Ernesto Rivera. You've got to love Hiro Yamakoshi's personality. He is so passionate, he is so engaged with his team. And even when the cameras are on him, he's very determined. We're going to win this one. We're going to push, push, push. A little bit of housekeeping after race 1. We saw earlier on, of course, the race victory being given to Nikita Bedrin after his fantastic charge through the field. in front of Ugo Chukwu and Evan Gilter. Sadly, the latter driver, Evan Gilter, was given a penalty post-race of 10 seconds for his part in the incident between himself and Freddie Slater that basically gave Freddie Slater a run wide off the circuit after slight contact. Gilter was given a 10-second penalty, which dropped him all the way back to 6th position. He was also then given a 3-place grid penalty for this race to negate the advantage that starting higher on the grid would have given him for that penalty, because he was originally going to be starting from 8th on the grid for finishing 3rd. He would then, of course, have been able to start the race from 5th position, having been demoted to 6th. So a 3-place grid penalty was added, so he would start from the same place and negate any advantage for the second race. So now it's going to be Hiro Yamakoshi and Ernesto Nevada on the front row of the grid. We just saw Rashid Al-Daheri, who's still trying to get his first outright victory. He's had a lot of rookie victories in this championship campaign. Taito Kato is going to line up in 4th position. Now, for those who are thinking about the championship fight and thinking, right, Evan Gilter has been demoted from 3rd to 6th in race 1. What does that mean for the championship title? Well, it's still very much Evan Gilter's to lose at this point. He now has a lead over Freddie Slater of 28 points with 60 still available. So if he outscores Freddie Slater by 3 points in this race, he will become the champion of 2025. And at the moment, it's looking good. Evan Gilter starts 8th. Freddie Slater, who dropped all the way to P12, starts from that position for this second race. So Gilter can stay in front of his main rival by enough places to give him 3 more points in the championship, and the deed is done. There is Kanato Lee for the ART Grand Prix team, teammate to Taito Kato and Evan Gilter. So it will be a tough race, whatever happens tonight. We saw a very tricky battle in the contenders further forward. We saw how big the drop-off was in tyre degradation in race 1. There is also Deligi of the RSGP team. So he's going to be starting up in the top 6 once again. But it will be a very tricky scenario for the contenders in this one, because we saw how quickly the tyre degradation kicked in. Firstly for Rashid Al-Daheri, and then secondly later on for Ugo Chukwu. So there is the Toyota young driver, Jin Nakamura, getting himself ready to start from the sharp end of the field. He was promoted to 4th position in fantastic fashion. Yossi wants to know where does Jacob start from? I think he's referring to Jacob Bergmeister. Well, sadly, he's not competing in this round of the championship. He has returned to Europe. So let's see if it's going to be an interesting situation for the start. Obviously, Hiro Yamakoshi is in a great position to take his first ever reverse grid victory in Formula Reginol from the front end of the grid, but his teammate, the Red Bull youngster Ernesto Nevada, will also want to take his first win of the season. And in fact, the top 4 drivers on this grid have not won a Formula Regional race in this campaign. Yamakoshi, Rivera, Al-Daheri and Taito Kato. They all have trophies for one thing or another. Apart from Hiro Yamakoshi, I think, who hasn't come through for a rookie victory yet this year. But now he's got a great chance, and he's driving beautifully here in the Sale. So let's talk you through the grid in full. It's going to be Hiro Yamakoshi and Ernesto Rivera, the pinnacle teammates on the front row of the grid. Rashid Al-Daheri 3rd, Taito Kato in P4 from Kanato Lee and also Deligi. 7th on the grid, Jin Nakamura alongside the champion in waiting, Evan Gilter from Ugo Chukwu and Nikita Bedrin. Jack Beaton is alongside his teammate Freddie Slater, who has to charge from 12th on the grid if he wants to be champion. Akshay Boran 13th from Brandon Madua, Reza Suwerthan, who we heard from in the pre-race show, and Kai Daninani. Then Gao Gia and Alex Sawyer, 19th on the grid for Yaroslav Zalaho, ahead of Finley Green. And then Jesse Galashgado, Wang Shongwei, Matteo De Palo, and Everett Stack, who will go from the back. Now, I've just seen a note on the race control messages of the live timing, and there's already an investigation. It's gone to Gao Gia of the Origin squad for a practice start, which is not allowed in a race session, even on the way to the grid. Oh, apologies, I'm desperately struggling with the after effects of the cold, as many people are here this weekend. I say weekend, it's actually Thursday, of course, because we're not running on Saturday due to Ramadan kickstarting on that day. So the last races of the season in F4 and Formula Regional are going to be tomorrow morning. Sadly, no coverage of that, I'm afraid, due to the fact that the race broadcast team in FIA World Endurance Championship are going to be on stand from 1 o'clock in the afternoon through to gone midnight. So it is insane to consider that they then have to do another 2 races at the beginning of the day as well. So there had to be some cuts, unfortunately, and as we're not the main event here this weekend, sadly we have to make sacrifices. So if we want to see a champion crowned tonight, it's all on Evan Shieldter. He's got to get 3 more points in the championship than Freddie Slater. But so far, so good. The Prema team look on as they engineer, of course, the Mumbai Falcons squad. They are still looking good to be champions in the teams category, but only if they stop dropping positions. It's still going to be a nail-biting fight all the way to the season conclusion between ART Grand Prix and Mumbai Falcons Racing. One of those 2 teams is now going to be the team's champion of 2025. RSGP haven't quite got the points tally to take them on. But there's also the potential for Ugo Chuku to confirm himself in 3rd in the championship. He will start tomorrow's race from pole position as well, so there's a lot of impetus for the New York Giant to push his way further forward. But there is the pinnacle front row. Hiryu Yamakoshi on the right in black and red, and in the Red Bull colours, Ernesto Rivera on the inside line. The dirty line where there's a lot of marbles. It's going to be a tricky start to the race for him, but if he can beat Yamakoshi to the first corner, then goodness knows what's going to happen. So for the last time in 2025, we will race under the floodlights on this gorgeous Losail International Circuit on the home straight. And now it's up to the drivers who will push for one more night race in 2025. And this could be the race that gives us the champion. Hiryu Yamakoshi and Ernesto Rivera on the front row of the grid. Shieldter has to score 3 more points than Slater to get the job done under the lights. The red lights come on. So let's race at Losail. It's a good start from the front row. Rashid Al-Aheli's got a good launch. So too is Kanato Lee. He's beaten his teammate Taito Kato off the line. And as they go to the first corner, Rivera's trying to get round the outside of Yamakoshi, who holds his line and defends valiantly. The field works their way through. Shieldter has made a good start by the look of it, already up to 7th. So that is great news for the Frenchman, as he just follows in formation behind Anzo Deligny, his countryman. So they go through the first few corners. A couple of drivers already starting to run wide. That's Nikita Bedrin getting sideways as off the road goes Akshay Bora, right in front of Reza Sawerthan in the Mumbai Falcons car. Freddie Slater's made a reasonably good start by the look of it as well. No, he hasn't. In fact, it's Jack Beaton who's made the good start. Freddie Slater is down in 15th. He's had a nightmare. So Yamakoshi leads from there and up the road. That's one of the ARTs. I think that's Kanato Lee, who drifted off the road as Shieldter tries to take on his teammate Taito Kato. Rashid Al-Aheli, he's all over the back of Ernesto Rivera. So Rashid Al-Aheli is the best place of the championship contenders to take advantage of the situation in this reverse grid race. He's going to get up the inside of Ernesto Rivera. He'll dive for the inside, and he's there. The Emirati gets ahead of Rivera, and so too does Kanato Lee. So Rashid Al-Aheli fights his way to 2nd position. Great run from the Yazid-backed driver in the Mumbai Falcons car. It doesn't look like a Mumbai Falcons car because, of course, he's in Yazid colours. But excellent run from Rashid Al-Aheli so far to get into P2. Just one man stands between him and his first overall race victory of the season, and that is Hiryu Yamakoshi. So Yamakoshi leads the way. Al-Aheli 2nd. Then it's Bruce Lee, Kanato Lee. Bruce to his mates. Down to the inside, that's Brandon Madilla getting on the inside line there of the Evans GP car, Kai Dadianani. He gets through, and behind him is Freddie Slater down in 16th position. It couldn't be going worse for Freddie Slater right now as they work their way down to the first corner. Good battles to turn 1. Side by side, late challenge there from Jack Beaton, who gets alongside Anzo Deligny, and Badilla gets his run on Bedrin. Slater trying to go right round the outside of Kai Darianani, and there's contact as Slater drifts onto the gravel. But he's got to get stuck in if he wants to keep this championship alive. 3 wide through the right-hander. How on earth did they not hit each other? The 2 RSGP teammates of Anzo Deligny, of Akshay Bora and Jin Nakamura and Reza Sawerthan drifting wide. I've never seen 3 cars side by side through there, as right off the road goes Akshay Bora and Nikita Bedrin. And up the inside, that's Amon Falcon getting a very close look on the inside line there of one of the RSGP cars. That's Reza Sawurthan going dueling with Brandon Madoa and Jin Nakamura. Brandon Madoa runs wide onto the curb, gets squeezed out. There's a lot of dust and sand on the outside line of that corner. You've got to be careful. And the wind is picking up a little bit here, so things get tricky as Go Gia looks like he's about to lose the place. Here comes Al Dahedi for the lead of the race on Yamakoshi. Yamakoshi holds the inside line for now, but Al Dahedi and Kanato Lee are lining up the Japanese in the lead. So this could be a tricky one. Jack Beaton fancies his chances from P5 as well, in behind Ernesto Rivera. And then Evan Schilter is trying to close up on his countryman Alzo Deligny. So many contenders for the victory in this race. And we're only on lap 2. Al Dahedi defends from Kanato Lee as Jack Beaton tries to get up the inside of Rivera in the final corner. So now we've got the statement of intent as Brandon Madoa goes side by side with Jin Nakamura, and Freddie Slater can get the run on both men. So down to the first corner, we're going to get a real raft of a race here. And at the inside, that's on the pit exit. Up the inside from Kanato Lee, as Lee gets on the inside of Al Dahedi. Now, is that going to be a little bit too far a move as Al Dahedi chops across on Kanato Lee? No, you don't. As Rashid Al Dahedi gets through into second place, there's nowhere for Kanato Lee to go across the gravel. And that surely is his chance of the victory gone. He rejoins in front of Beaton, but he's got to let Evan Schilter go through. He may have picked up some damage. So Schilter is through into 5th position. As Freddie Slater is now up to 15th place. And Jin Nakamura appears to have dropped out of contention up the inside line. That is Jack Beaton still trying to take on Rivera. And there's Jin Nakamura. He's gone clean off the racetrack. So Jin Nakamura looks like he's going to recover. So he shouldn't need a safety car. But now it's getting hectic for the victory. So many drivers want to end their season with a win. And there's so many chances to get it done. Jack Beaton swarming around behind Rivera as Rashid Al Dahedi gets the same treatment to Hiro Yamakoshi in the lead. Off the turn. Yamakoshi versus Al Dahedi for the victory. Rivera versus Beaton for 3rd position. Watch for Kanato Lee. And Evan Schilter behind. Schilter now to 5th position as we know. But Beaton is really hustling Rivera. He wants a podium position outright. He had a miserable start to the season when he was really under the weather. Now he's got himself back into a race-winning position. And don't forget that Jack Beaton is still a rookie driver in the world of Formula Regional. In fact, the top 4 drivers in this race are rookies. So they've all got a very tough mission to stay in front of Evan Schilter in 5th position. Slater has worked his way to 14th place. This is the battle for the back. We've got Everett Stack trying to take on the 11. That is Alex Sawyer. And there's a 5-second time penalty given to Go Gia for a practice start. Free race build-up. Beaton swapping around behind Rivera. Schilter trying to stay with them. They could take each other off here. And they do! Beaton spins around in the gravel. And that might be where he stays. As Go Gia tries to make up a lost time in turn 1. But there's going to be yellow flags out for that. So surely he's got to give the place back again, which he does. As Freddie Slater tries to scamper away from Kai Danielali and Matteo De Ballo. But Jack Beaton gets too close to Ernesto Rivera, spins the car around, and it's game over for Jack Beaton for the win. What a shame for the Aussie. Especially considering that Seth Gilmore had to drop out of the F4 race due to a light neck injury after a practice accident yesterday. And Aaron Cameron, the other Australian in the field, pulled out the Formula Regional, withdrew at the last minute. So it was all on Jack Beaton, and now it's all fallen apart. But look at Rashid Al Dahedi. His hunger is obvious on the inside of Yamakoshi, and the Emirati hits the front here in the sail. Yamakoshi trying to get straight back in there. There's not a lot of room for 2. Yamakoshi trying to keep his nose in, but up the inside, Rashid Al Dahedi has the line for the corner. Beautifully done from Rashid Al Dahedi. Now Ernesto Rivera is going to line up the move, and Evan Schilter is not far away. Right, Freddie Slater's up to 13th, but Schilter is in P4, so it still looks good for the Frenchman to be champion. But he's still got to get the job done, so Rashid Al Dahedi leads. Yamakoshi second, and that's a big run by for Aldo Deligny, who's got to rejoin right into the path of Reza Sawurthan. Reza Sawurthan's having a really good race here as he battles away with Hugo Gachuku. battles continue on here, down the straight. And now Ugogachuku's got ahead of Suburban and the PHM of Brandon Matua. So down into the first corner, Shields there trying to go right round the outside. And I'm sorry, that is Taito Kato trying to go right round the outside of Arto Deligny. Then tuck into the inside for the next apex. Deligny's not giving him a lot of space. And they bang wheels. Arto Deligny holds his nerve on the inside. Taito Kato's not backing out of it. He's got momentum on the far side. Surely Taito Kato's not going to finish that. But he does. Absolutely extraordinary from Taito Kato. That is an almost impossible overtake to finish off. But he's got the confidence and bravery of a lion on a roller coaster. Amazing from Taito Kato. So into the position he goes, and then it's Kato now in front of Deligny. Next up it is Yugo Gachuku and Brandon Matua. The two men that were fighting for the title. Now they're just going to try and go for best of the rest. Where's Rennie Slater? He's now 13th, one place back from Nikita Bedrin, but out of the points. And Shields has put in the fastest lap at 1:52.291. Yet again, though, no safety car in the first 9 minutes of the race. And that's going to mean the tyre degradation is going to be absolutely terrifying in the last 10 minutes of this race. Even though it's cooler conditions, I can tell you that the air temperature is not much lower than it was earlier on today. It's been overcast and windy with a little bit of rain here and there all day long. And going dark is not going to improve the conditions that much. And it's certainly not going to improve the tyre degradation much either. Here's a replay of the start. So we're going to look back over some of the best bits so far, I think. And what a start that was from Yamakoshi. Exactly what he needed to do on Rivera. Pretty textbook all the way to the first corner. Alderheady getting his nose in there with Rivera. So nearly contact between a slow starting Freddie Slater and the hard charging Brandon Matua. And it was wheel to wheel all the way through on the first lap. So many drivers trying to go for moves. Nikita Bedrin struggling to replicate the same form that he had in race 1 earlier on today with the victory. But Jack Beaton too close to Rivera. They bang wheels and Beaton goes around. He managed to get going again, but it's too late for him to have any chance at all in this race. Rushing out ahead, wheel to wheel with Yamakoshi, takes the lead of the race. And that is where we currently are with the Emirati out in front and leading confidently. Look at the daylight, or night light I should say, that he's putting now between himself and Hugh Yamakoshi in second. Rivera is third, and Evan Shielter now in 4th place is a champion elect. Brandon Matua having a great duel here with McLaren Jr. is holding up the McLaren Jr. They're looked after by the same Formula 1 Academy program, but this is a very interesting situation for both Brandon Matua versus Ugogachuku. They both want to beat the other in not just the race, but also in the Drivers' Championship. It looks as though they're going to be fighting for third in the standings. There's Reza Suwerden. We heard from him in the pre-race build-up, and now he is looking pretty mighty out there, actually 10th position behind Ugogachuku and Badua. And 3 places ahead of his championship competing teammate Freddie Slater, who's really struggling behind Akshay Bora and Nikita Bedrin, the final 2 point scorers. So for Gilter, who's got to outscore Slater by 3 points, he's currently going to outscore him by 18. Down on the inside line, that is a choice manoeuvre there from the 33 of Jesse Galashkado. Gets the run on Everett Stack. Everett Stack, of course, has been sat out the last 2 races. His car was given over to Mercedes F1 Junior Julian Pou. And up the inside, that is Nikita Bedrin getting the run on the number 3. So then it's Akshay Bora going wheel to wheel with Nikita Bedrin. There's more great battles going on further back as Everett Stack is having a great tussle with Goa-Gia. So Goa-Gia is trying to get through in the origin. That's the car that was vacated by Liu Che, and he drifts out wide. He's already got a penalty coming his way for doing a practice start on the way to the grid. You're not supposed to do that. You can only do practice starts in practice sessions. You can't even do practice starts in qualifying, I believe. But clearly the Chinese version of the rule book didn't mention that, or either that one he wasn't quite up to the mark to read it. Kanato Lee, by the way, has also now got in front of Hugh Yamakoshi. So Kanato Lee is now into 4th position. So Shielter is into 3rd place. Now we didn't see what happened, but Yamakoshi has dropped from 3rd place to 5th. So busy watching the battle further back. And now we are left with Shieldshair in 3rd, Kanato in 4th, and Yamakoshi in 5th, ahead of Kato. So it's Japanese drivers 4th, 5th, and 6th. Jin Nakamura and Jack Beaton having to recover after earlier spins. We've got just under 15 minutes left of this race now, plus the lap at the end of it when the timing screens have ticked down to 0. There is Rennie Slater still trying to get something out of Akshay Bora to at least get a point. Yellow flags are out as Everett Stack seems to have dropped back. So I think we've lost Everett Stack from this race now. Beaton's gone down to the back of the field. Nakamura's rejoined at the back. And I think it's now Everett Stack's turn. Yellow flags are out at turn 13. You can see that on your graphic on the screen on the right side of your picture. So Everett Stack is there. We're not entirely sure what the situation is, but this could trigger a safety car, a much needed one for the drivers in these conditions. Now the incident between Ernesto Rivera and Jack Beaton is under investigation. So if Rivera gets a penalty, Gilter is going to be elevated to 2nd place, which will almost certainly make him the champion. In fact, mathematically, there's no two ways about it. If Gilter finishes 1st or 2nd in this race, he will be the champion. There is Everett Stack's car. It's in the barrier. So is that going to be enough to cover with a yellow flag, or are we going to need a safety car? It's a long way off the road. So as long as they can get him out of the car and get him to safety, that might just need to be covered with a yellow flag. There is the yellow flag zone. So let's have a look and see if that's going to warrant a safety car. Look to the right-hand side of your picture. You may well see Everett Stack. As he comes through the picture, there are the ART Grand Prix squad just watching and waiting. In about a quarter of an hour, their man, Evan Shieldshair, Gigi to his close friends, could be about to lift the most important single-seater championship trophy of his career so far. Teammates, Guy Danielali, battling away at the moment with Alex Sawyer and Matteo De Palo. They're all together out on the circuit, the MXGP trio. And we've got a battle raging further back. This is Io Yamakoshi going wheel to wheel with Kanato Lee. And they nearly rub wheels. How close was that? On the inside, Kanato Lee gets the move. Finished off on Io Yamakoshi, who keeps it round the far side over the gravel. Gets it back together, dives back to the inside line. Watch out for Taito Kato around the far side. The 3 Japanese drivers. Kato goes off the road, rejoins. Well, here's 3 more talents that are likely to be a feature and fixture of Japanese motorsport for future years to come. And Yamakoshi gets his run on the inside of Kanato Lee and dives up into 4th position. Good recovery from Yamakoshi. Now Taito Kato is going to get his run on Kanato Lee. Has Kanato Lee got a problem developing? So down to P6 he goes. His next opponent is going to be Otto Deligny behind him. And then we've got Ugo Gachuku, Reza Swerden, Nikita Bedrick, Brandon Madua, and now into the points is Rennie Slater in P12. And with Evan Shieldshair in 3rd position, that's going to be more than enough. Rushing down the head, he's not done with this race yet. He's going to have more pressure from Ernesto Nevada. We're reaching the point now of no return for the tyres. Don't forget, we had a safety car in race 1, and then all of a sudden, at about the 5 minutes to go mark, we ended up with a massive plummet in tyre degradation. Well, we haven't had a safety car yet, so this could be anybody's race still. As we look to the battle further back, this is actually Bora dueling away with Matteo De Palo. So De Palo is going to try and get his run on Akshay Bora, the man who took the reverse grid race victory in Yas Marina. Take it nice and easy. The yellow flag has been withdrawn, so we don't need a safety car for the incident that took out Everett Stack. He was far enough over the line, and that's the move on the inside from Jesse Galashgado. Wheel to wheel with Alex Sawyer, and off the road, that's Jack Beaton again. Jack Beaton's gone off a second time and lost his front wing. That's side by side. The Emirati is trying to shake off Rivera. The Mexican in the Red Bull colours versus the Emirati in the Yazid colours. Reginol and Ernesto Rivera, 2 rookies battling away for the race victory. Out ahead, he's trying to make his car as wide as a Buick right now. There's not a lot Ernesto Rivera can do. He's just got to put he's got to put Alderheiri, sorry, under as much pressure as he possibly can. So through to the hairpin once more. Rashid Alderheiri in front of Ernesto Rivera. Covers the line, has to keep the car to the middle of the road. Let's see what happened to Jack Beaton. He's on his own, and the wing just decides, no, he runs wide, he gets onto the gravel, I've had enough, and the wing parts company for Jack Beaton, and he skates off the road. That's at the final corner, and that pretty much sums up Jack Beaton's season. He could have had a lot more than he's had this season. He's pulled into the pits to retire, and can you blame him? Ernesto Rivera continues to knock on the door of Rashid Alderheiri's victory, hoping that there's room in the inn. Up to the right-handers. Rivera has just got to take his time about this. If he looks after the tyres in the next couple of laps and does a better job of it than Rashid Alderheiri, it's going to be really tricky for Rashid Alderheiri to hold on to the victory and run wide. That is one of the MXGP cars drifting off the road. Now that, I believe, is going to be Kai Dadianani. So Kai Dadianani trips up and goes off the road himself. And there's a very frustrated looking Bob by Falcons team, as Jack Beaton has already got out of the car. Now, Hiryu Yamakoshi has found some pace again, and is starting to move forward. There's smoke going down the straight on Enzo Deligny's car. Has he got an engine problem brewing? Because that's not a lockup, that's smoke. Has been billowing out of the car all the way down the straight. So Enzo Deligny has got a problem here, as Yamakoshi has got back in front of Evan Schilter for third position. It's not panic stations yet for Schilter at all, because fourth position should be enough. Rennie Slater is in 12th place, so he's going to lose a considerable amount of points more than he needs to. Rashid Alderheiri still holds the lead from Rivera. To keep an eye on it, also Deligny in the background, because there was a lot of smoke coming off the car down the straight. Now I don't know whether that was engine related or whether that was bodywork related. Sometimes when you get a component rubbing on another component, it'll bring up some steam and smoke. So we don't know if it's a mechanical issue with the car or whether it's something loose on the car that's rubbing on the tyre. But at the moment at least, Rashid Alderheiri holds on from Ernesto Rivera. Third, and Evan Schilter is ready to become champion. Karashkado seems to have had enough somewhere. He's dropping down the order now. So the other Mexican in this race, Jesse Karashkado, returning to the championship, seems to be really struggling in this one, and he's dropped all the way to the back, other than Jin Nakamura, who obviously had his off earlier on. And we're going to see a replay. Now this is Akshay Bora going wheel to wheel with Karashkado. That's what happened to him. He's run completely off the racetrack onto the runoff area, and he's missed the timing zone. So he hasn't gone off the road altogether, he just missed the timing split and has rejoined in behind Go Ujia. Here comes the charge from Rivera! Rashid Alderheiri had to be very quick to react to that. You've got to be so careful when you drift off the line, because you're going to end up on the dead part of the racetrack. 7 minutes left. 7 minutes plus the additional bonus lap, of course. But it looks like he could run green to the flag. And for Ernesto Rivera, this is all going to be about smart, tactical thinking. Rashid Alderheiri is a tough man to force into a mistake, and the Emirati has been destined to go for victory this season. Can he hold off Ernesto Rivera? Meanwhile, we've got a great battle going on between Akshay Bora, Go Ujia, and Jesse Karashkado. So Karashkado, far side of Go Ujia, got a Jeep car, trying to salvage a point or two. He's in 16th place, it's not looking good at the moment. So through the drivers continue to make good work of things. I think there's been a slight technical glitch with Hiryu Yamakoshi's transponder. He's suddenly gone from the fray. Either that, or he's had a penalty that's been applied to his race time. But Yamakoshi is suddenly showing up as being in 7th place. He was in 3rd. Has he gone off the road somewhere? Schilter is now showing his 3rd, ahead of Kato, Deligny, Bedrin, Yamakoshi, down to 7th. I wonder if he's run off in the same part of the circuit and ended up not getting the timing line right. Well, now Yamakoshi is dropping a long way back. Apparently he's taking, yeah, he's dropping back! He's slowing! So Yamakoshi's got a problem! He was in third position in front of Shinter, and now Aldeharry's really got to work to defend from Ernesto Nevada off the final turn. It's a drag race to the braking zone. Aldeharry beside the pit wall, Rivera beside the grandstand. Rivera's going to have to swarm around like an angry hornet at a picnic. Can he get it right round the far side? He can't rotate the car in to get the benefit off the outside line. Tries to get on the inside to thwart Rashid Aldeharry. But I'm afraid to say that the Japanese hearts will be plunging to their shoes as Hiro Yamakoshi is going to limp back to the pits and retirement with what's clearly a technical difficulty with the car, as Rivera really is trying to force the issue here. He's gone for an undercut, side by side, and he's through! Oh my goodness, now it looks like they both run wide, and Aldeharry runs off to the gravel. He tried so hard to stay in front of Ernesto Nevada, and the Red Bull youngster has got through with an audacious overtake, bagging wheels with Rashid Aldeharry, and gets through. Now, Rashid Aldeharry is going to be struggling to get that car to the finish now. 4 minutes 15 to go. And it really is going to be a tricky end to the race now, because this is where the tyres will be absolutely screaming and howling at the drivers to end this race now. And there is poor Hiro Yamakoshi. Third position was almost in the bag. And the Japanese driver with a technical difficulty. So unfortunate. He's really been a star this year. Let's see if we can find out what happened. Look, a very audacious move from Rivera, and Rashid Aldeharry drifts wide, hits the curb, hits the gravel, and rejoins. Now, will the Mumbai Falcons team say, look, he was too forceful, he dived up the inside and barged our driver aside, or will they say it's all fair in love and war? Especially when you consider that Rashid Aldeharry is now dropping backwards down the fifth. Where is Aldeharry? There he is, though. He's behind Bedrin. So Shilter is second, Deligny's up to third, and Bedrin is now P4. Here we go. The tyre degradation is kicking in now, and also Deligny is going to make his bid on Shilter. Shilter lets it go. Why should I fight you? I can be champion in about 5 minutes' time. I'm not going to fight you. You have the place. I'll score the points. Thank you very much. So this is an incident further back. Oh, that did get too close for comfort. That's Brando Mandua losing ground there to the 8 of Matteo De Ballo, and losing a couple of places in the process. So Deligny's now to second, Shilter's now to third, with Bedrin, the master of tyre management, on his tail. So Nikita Bedrin now into fourth position, right behind Shilter, goes to the move, and Bedrin into third ahead of Evan Shilter. Right, that's okay for now, because Shilter is still looking good for the championship. Fourth position, with Freddie Slater in 11th place. So now they will work their way through the far side of the course. Rivera is looking good. He's made a victory in Formula Regional in only his 14th start in the championship. So Evan Shilter is just taking it easy. He doesn't have to push here. Fourth position will do very nicely indeed for Evan Shilter. Rivera leads. Great driving so far from Antonio Deligny in second position. Thoroughly deserves a crack at the top spot. He's got 3 seconds to make up on the Red Bull Junior. Now I wonder, is there going to be an investigation into the duel between Rivera and Aldeharry? Well, I can tell you for a fact that Aldeharry has dropped behind Shilter. He's now in 5th place. And Taito Kato, Kanato Lee, Ugu Ugachukwu, Matteo De Ballo, Reza Suwerden, Freddie Slater is in 11th. And up to 12th has come the Vietnamese driver, Alex Sawyer. So Alex Sawyer is driving beautifully. A minute and a half to go. So this is the penultimate lap for Ernesto Nevada, the Red Bull youngster. He was a winner in F4 Spain last year. Now he has stepped up to the world of Formula Regional with Pinnacle in the Middle East. And the Red Bull stable has only just brought this young Mexican into the fold. But what a performance from Ernesto Nevada in this race. The calm, quiet, composed maturity of a veteran. And also the gusto and the determination that will put him right into the frame for a Red Bull Grand Prix seat one day. We talk a lot about Harvey Lindblad. We've talked for years about Liam Lawson. But Ernesto Nevada is the newest Red Bull Junior. And he's been quietly learning the process this year, straight into Formula Regional. But in this race, when he had his first real opportunity, it's all coming together. Nevada leads Deligny, Bedrin, and Evan Shilter. plus the end of this lap, plus the entirety of the last one, and the job is done. So Ernesto Rivera just got to bring it through these last few corners and then start the lap one more time. Battles everywhere you look. Carrasquedo still putting Gaidani and Arnie under some pressure. This is a race that's gone without a safety car to the line. There you go, 28 minutes without a safety car. Now they've got to finish this lap and begin the last one. But the Pinnacle team are looking good for a victory here for Ernesto Rivera. As meanwhile, we've got a great battle ensuing between Kanato Lee, Ugo Ugachuku and Matteo De Palo in the closing stages of this race. But what an incredible run it's been. So this is going to be a sensational end to the season. Ernesto Rivera is going to pick up his first victory. Also, Delini is going to pick up his best ever result. And Evan Schilter is on the charge to become the champion. Behind Nikita Bedrin now. Bedrin's gone through into third place. So Bedrin's worked his way through into third position. Evan Schilter will not care. Fourth position will do nicely for him. As Rashid Al-Aheli tiptoes around in fifth position in front of Taito Kato. Then Uguchuku, who's got through now past Kanato Lee, into seventh position with Matteo De Palo waiting in the wings. Reza Sewellin in 10th, ahead of Freddie Slater. He'll score some points, so too will Slater. And it looks to me as though Alex Sawyer, who's looked after the tyres immaculately, is going to bring it home in 12th place. The first ever Vietnamese driver to get points in the Formula Regional Middle East Championship, I do believe. But this man has come of age at the perfect time, having joined the Red Bull stable, one of the toughest racing academies in the world. The Mexican needed to deliver in this first campaign to prove to Helmut Marko and the team at Red Bull that he was a good choice. He's been a brilliant choice. It's taken him the entire 5-week campaign to get to the victory lane, but now he is tasting it and doing so in fine style. An excellent display from the Mexican as Ernesto Rivera comes up to the final corner. It took him 14 races, but now he is a winner in Formula Regional. Ernesto Rivera for Pinnacle gets the victory in the sale. Second, Lorenzo Deligny. Third, Rita Bedrin. But look back, in fourth position, the champion of 2025 is Evan Schilter. Evan Schilter is the champion of 2025. He's done it, and he is celebrating with euphoria and exuberance down the pit straight. Formidable, mon brave. Ernesto Rivera is a winner for the first time in Formula Regional. In only his 14th ever Formula Regional race. Great run for the rookie. He wins the rookie race and the race outright. Red Bull, you've got another superstar in your stable. His name, Ernesto Rivera. The coming of age moment for the Spaniard. For the Mexican, I apologize, he speaks Spanish, so it'll be in the same language. But what a magnificent end to the season for Ernesto Rivera as he takes the victory in magnificent fashion. Also Deligny with a stunning drive to second place for RSGP. Nikita Bedrin in third. But Evan Schilter is going to party with his team like there's no tomorrow. Evan Schilter is the 2025 Formula Regional Middle East champion. What a sensational season it's been. Commiserations to Ugo Ugachuku, to Brandon Madua, and of course to Freddie Slater, who when he burst out of the box at Yas Marina, we thought this was going to be one-way traffic. But they reckoned without the stunning ART Grand Prix and their boy wonder, Evan Schilter. So as Ernesto Rivera gets the glory for the race victory, he gets the plaudits on the slowing down lap. But I've been watching Evan Schilter for such a long time, and the Frenchman utterly deserves this. He is a star in the making, and he's proved it this season. With no experience in the Middle East whatsoever, he has come to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai, and to Lusail, and he has made the Middle East his playground. Evan Schilter, the champion of 2025. And I have to say, so richly deserved. What an end to the season it has been here at the Sale. There is one more race tomorrow, of course, but sadly, due to broadcast restrictions, we have got to not broadcast tomorrow's races because the World Endurance Championships 1812 kilometres at Qatar, the opening to the season, is going to be on air from about 1 o'clock local time through till midnight here in the Sale. So the overtime is really going to do a hammer and blow job to the camera crew. So it's understandable, it's unfortunate, but the good news is we got to see the champion crowned. We won't see Evan Schilter on the podium. He'll go back to the paddock and celebrate with his team. But look at what it means to the very impressive young Mexican, Ernesto Rivera. The Red Bull Junior will climb out of his car and he will celebrate in immaculate fashion. This is what it means to this fantastic young man who was racing for victory in F1 Spain. He can't get the steering wheel off. Ernesto Rivera cannot get the steering wheel off his car. Now they've got it done, and he gets a proper pat on the race helmet for his victory. He gets out thanks to the halo, but it's a victory at last for Ernesto Rivera. That is the first win of many for the Mexican, and the Pinnacle team are jubilant. You may have just seen a couple of shots there at the ART Grand Prix mechanics bouncing up and down the start-finish straight with joy as Evan Schilter soaked up the moment on the slowest coming in lap in history. There is Evan Schilter. He's pulled up on the main straight. He's pulled up. Hang protocol. Who cares? He's going to come through and celebrate in style on the main straight. There he is, the champion of 2025 for Formula Regional Middle East for ART Grand Prix, Evan Schilter. Well done, Evan. It's been amazing from the start. And so now we have got ourselves a champion in Formula Regional, the first in 2025. The Formula Regional Middle East champion is Evan Schilter. He follows Arvid Lindblad in Formula Regional Oceania. Now in the Middle East, it's Evan Schilter's turn for glory. When he goes back to Europe, he will be a formidable force. ART Grand Prix and Evan Schilter, the Lightning McQueen of France, came to battle here in the Middle East, having never set foot in the country before, never mind driven the circuits. There it is. I wonder what is the French for Lightning McQueen, because there he is. Evan Schilter, Gigi, has been a stunner all season long. Ernesto Rivera.
Ernesto Rivera and Enzo Deligny, P1 and P2, Nikita Bedrin, Evan Schilter, Rashid Al-Dahiri, Taito Kato, Ugo Chikwu, Kanato Lay, Matteo De Palo, and Reza Setherukin. Very unfortunate there to see the American of Ugo Chikwu, sadly.
And rebuild. He finishes the last race but one in 11th position. But the final point scorer will be Alex Sawyer of Vietnam. What a result for one of the youngest drivers in this championship. Padua, Bora, Darianani, Kanashkado, Mazlaho, Gawajia, Wong Shunwei, Philly Green, and Jin Nakamura, your final finishers. Yamakoshi, Beaton, and Everett Stack, all retirements. Now, Evan Schilter sadly won't be going to the podium, but he runs from the start-finish straight, and he'll jump straight into the tent where he will party. And it'll be a long party into the night, I'm sure. Still got a race to do tomorrow. If I were him, I probably wouldn't bother. But what a race battle it was. Iyo Yamakoshi in front of Ernesto Rivera to the start. We had so many great overtakes in that race. And what a joy it is to say that under the lights in Qatar, we had no safety cars. We barely had a yellow flag. We had a few of them, but not enough to halt the race that gave us so many twists and turns. It was like the ultimate motorsport helter-skelter. So many great battles all the way through. From Taito Kato, from Kanato Lee, from Rashid Al-Dahiri, from Ernesto Rivera, who went on to win, from Evan Schilter, from Iyo Yamakoshi, from Jack Beaton in the early stages, I think there is going to be an investigation into the incident between Jack Beaton and Ernesto Nevada, so that is not yet decided. But I do hope that Ernesto Nevada gets to keep the victory. He drove beautifully. Here is that incident again. There is an investigation into it. It's tough to tell whether that's Nevada turning into Beaton or whether that's Beaton being brave and going round the outside. That's a tough one for the race stewards to call. And poor Reginol, he tried every trick in the book today. Took the lead early on, but he wasn't able to bring it home with the victory. The tyre degradation was just too much for him, and he dropped back to 5th behind Gilles, with the podium made up of Nikita Bedrin, who yet again drove beautifully on tyre degradation to go from 10th to 3rd. Also Deligny with his drive of the season in 2nd place, his best result of the year. And Ernesto Oliveira, the latest driver to take victory in Formula Regional. Here's how he did it. That amazing battle with Reginol. Watch this, just kept his foot in, planted it, and made the move. Reginol, I don't think there was contact actually, as Reginol just drifted off the road, and Ernesto Rivera fought for the victory and clinched it. Rivera the winner from Deligny and Bedrin, but behind them all, it was Evan Gilles who got the job done in fantastic style to become the new Formula Regional Middle East champion. Excellent stuff. So to the podium, our last televised podium ceremony of the season. Nikita Bedrin in 3rd position. Also Deligny in 2nd place. But a very worthy new winner in Formula Regional who gets the rookie win and the overall win. For Mexico, Ernesto Rivera of Pinnacle. Ladies and gentlemen, your latest Red Bull superstar. There is the Mexican, making his way to the top step of the podium, and he'll get a pair of trophies tonight. Well, I have to say, although we won't get to see the races in full tomorrow, you can be sure that we have had an amazing week here in Losail. It lived up to the expectation and delivered in fantastic fashion. And so, after a brilliant run, we have 2 champions tonight. In the F4 Middle East Championship, it's Emanuele Olivieri of Italy. In Formula Regional Middle East, it's Evan Gilles. But we've got so many compliments to give out to the drivers who fought them. In F4, commiserations to the likes of Kian Roberta and Alex Powell, who will fight for the Vice Championship tomorrow. And of course, commiserations to Ugo Ugochukwu, who lost a lot of points at the start of the year, to Brandon Madua, who struggled to keep the pace all through, and of course to Freddie Slater, who came so near to winning his first Formula Regional title and his first attempt. But with the experience of Evan Gilles and the confidence of the ART Grand Prix team, it was always going to be tough. But it's now a pair of trophies that go to the latest winner in Formula Regional. Rookie winner, overall winner, Ernesto Rivera. So with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a very exciting season in Formula Regional out here in the Middle East. And that was the last televised race in the Middle East for the Tartus T318. When we come back to the Middle East in January 2026, it'll be a new car, a new dawn, a new era, a new challenge, a new competition, and some new stars to do it all over again. From Jake Sanson here in the Middle East, we have had an amazing season. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Join us on live timing tomorrow if you wish to. But we are now in the midst of 2 champions, Emanuele Olivieri in F4 and in Formula Regional, Evan Gilles. I want to be part of that party, so I'm going to go and be part of it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again in 2026. Bye for now.